All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 673 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And I understand it's year number 3, or in some cases you could say it's year 1 for Coach Arthur Smith. You can also make the case that, he finally got the guys that he want in place. But is this scheme, is it a work in progress? Is it working? It's kind of difficult to say when you look at everything that's happened in the last, year or so. I'm not going to necessarily count the Matt Ryan season because, Matt Ryan basically did a lot on his own in that season. It was basically him and Kyle Pitts, and Cordell Patterson. So, the scheme that Coach Arthur Smith tried to run did not necessarily work because, Mike Davis was pretty much a flop. So, let's go ahead and get into this. I want to know, is it still a work in progress? Is this working? So I think it's an honest question to have. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I could be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. The website is firstandframerates.com. And things that I don't really talk about on the show that don't make it to the show is on X or Twitter at VF Baller. You can follow me over there. I want to thank you guys for the support. You guys have been amazing, supporting on, this channel. I cannot thank you guys enough. Not to waste too much more time. I just really want to get into this because I have questions. Is the scheme a problem or is it a work in progress? I think the scheme, the run first scheme, that works. I think because we have guys who can, actually carry the rock and run. But what happens when that doesn't work? Does it have to be completely committed to the run only or the run 60 to 70% of the time or hell, even 60-40? Because you got guys that are back here. You got guys that are receivers that are true pass catchers. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, I'm just going to name those guys out exclusively because I think Mac Hollins has been getting the ball a lot. I don't know the numbers, but it just seems like Mac Hollins is always finding a way to get the ball. And I just think that this could be a much more prolific passing game if the scheme was kind of toned down and throw a little bit more short passes. I think from what I've seen this entire year so far, it's been a lot of intermediate stuff, intermediate to kind of long. I haven't seen, you see a little screen passes here and there, but people make a knock on Michael Thomas for doing slants and stuff, and I know we had a few of them in this game in the game so far. But I think slanting goals, dig routes. I think those type of plays need to be more prevalent, especially when we got guys with the bodies and the size of Drake London and Kyle Pitts. I full disclosure, I haven't watched every play. I watched every play because I watched every game, but I don't remember every play. I can't tell you that that's the case, but they need to find a way to get these two guys the ball much more. Is it a work in progress? Are we going to see more of that later on down the road? Or is it just the scheme that we're running is just not working and we can't get these guys the ball? I know there was more of a push to try to get the ball to these guys in the Detroit game. We just couldn't get any protection. And that's another thing. When you try to be a run heavy team, you need some guys that can actually pass block. I don't care what anybody say. This is a passing league. And with that being said, we need some pass blocking linemen. The run game is going to come. The run game is going to come. Because you got guys who specialize in one or the other, but you can find some guys that's balanced, who are talented, guys who could just flat out maul and manhandle people. It's going to happen whether if you run blocking or pass blocking. And I think the scheme itself has catered to more of a run blocking scheme. I think even with Bergeron, the rookie, I think he seems like he caters more to a run blocking style. But when I saw him in Syracuse, I thought it was the opposite. It just seems like he's more of a run blocker. So when you got these guys who can't really protect, or they're not capable of protecting Desmond Ridder beyond 3 seconds, and I think the average is 2.5 anyway. But, the great quarterbacks do get 3 to 5 seconds to pass the ball because by then somebody's going to be open. And with guys with the size of Drake London and Kyle Pitts, even Mac Hollins, you're going to get some people open. It's just, I just think that not necessarily these guys, Drake London and Kyle Pitts, are the problem. I think it's more that the scheme of just trying to be a run first team may not need to be that emphasized. And I mean, I just spent the last 5 minutes trying to explain that, but I think the bare bones or the main idea or the gist of this entire argument is like, maybe we don't need to be a run first offense. You know, I know, don't get me wrong, I want to run the ball, and I think running the ball is the bread and butter, but you got guys back there that's going to flourish regardless. I believe in Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson. I don't think, hell, I even believe in Cordell Patterson. I don't think these guys need an overtly good offensive line that's overtly good at running or run blocking. I think you need some guys that can pass block. So I said this in the episode a while back. It starts in the trenches, and I believe that we saw it on display in this game against Detroit. How does that fare going forward? I don't know, because we don't know. Like, you know who Aiden Hutchinson was, and you know what the Texans have. You kind of know, you know, Texans got a rookie that can get at the quarterback. They got Chase Young with the Commanders. You already know what's going on with the Buccaneers. I'm trying to think who else. The Saints, they're so-so at rushing the passer now. You know, they kind of lost their defensive line coach. But I'm looking at those 4 or 5 teams. It could be a long, you know, a stretch for the Falcons if they can't, you know, fix that. You know, the film has been put out there. The tape has been put out there on the Falcons as far as getting that Desmond Ridder. The Lions put that on tape very well for these other teams to watch. Trust and believe. The Jacksonville Jaguars are on their way to London watching that tape. And if the scheme cannot hold up, maybe it is a work in progress, or maybe it's just a problem. So that's the issue that I have at the end of the day. It's not necessarily a full critique or anything negative on the team, because we've seen it work. But I mean, when you got pass catchers like what we have, I think there's some type of concern to say, hey, you got a 1,000-yard receiver right here. You got a 1,000-yard tight end. You got a guy who was a few 150 yards away from another 1,000-yard season. I mean, Marcus Mariota, if he did a little bit better, we could have had Drake London over 1,000 yards. Does that happen with Drake London now? I mean, does that happen with Drake London now when we have Desmond Ridder? I think it can. I think Desmond Ridder's arm is slightly better than advertised. People try to give it, you know, a really bad grade, give a bad critique on it. But I think his arm is actually a little better than advertised, and I think he will be fine. He just needs protection. Because when he gets protection, you see he does make plays. So with that being said, I would like to see, you know, these guys pick up the pace when it comes to fixing the scheme, fixing what they need to do. Because I know, even though this is a run first team, I know that Coach Arthur Smith do want to pass the ball. But when you have an offensive line that blocks, you know, run blocks first, those teams that I just mentioned, man, it could be a long, long stretch, you know. I mean, the next 3, I mean, I say that we got a chance to beat these teams because we are, you know, capable. But you look at from the Jaguars up to the Buccaneers, week 4, 5, 6, and 7, all 4 of these teams got guys who can get at the quarterback. So what are we going to do? You know what I mean? Like, what are we going to do? Because like I said, we can't just do all this when it comes to we can't just do all this just by running the ball. Yes, it helps. It helps. But if we're going, and I will say this before I get out of here, if we are going to be in the business of running the ball like this, and if we first of all, we have to be successful at it. And 2, the defense just going to have to keep playing like they're playing. Now, don't get it twisted. The defense for the Falcons have been playing very good. I mean, they haven't played bad at all this season. You look at that, like I said, even with the Lions game, the defense gave up one big play. If you didn't do that, this is a 13-6 game. And, you can make the case about the other touchdown too, but those guys kept going back on the field. But touchdowns do happen. It's lean towards the offense. But that one play where the tight end just nobody was near him for 15 yards, that shouldn't happen. So those type of things right there, outside of that one big play, the Falcons actually played pretty good defense throughout the season. Throughout that game. You look at everything else, what they've done so far this season, even with the Packers game, they came back and won that game. They shut that team down in the fourth quarter. Shut them down. Same thing with the Panthers. Shut them down. So I don't think the defense is necessarily an issue. I like what the defense has done so far this season. I have no issue with that. It's just the offense need to find a way to right the wrong what they did against the Lions and try to fix it, because, it's not that bad. But we need to understand that if what we saw on this past Sunday, is that a problem? Is it a work in progress? Because if it's a problem, it's something that we're going to be seeing week in and week out. If it's a work in progress, you're going to start seeing things get a little bit better. I think the Falcons basically got punched in the mouth a little bit of a buzzsaw, something that they wasn't prepared for. And I think that Coach Arthur Smith is probably going to be in a position to try to fix that a little bit. It's going, like I said in the last episode, this is a true test for the Falcons. This is where you're going to know if this scheme is working or not. This is where you're going to know if this scheme is a work in progress. Or I would even say this is that you will know that this scheme is just fine, and on some days you just get beat. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think when it comes to this scheme. Is it a problem or still a work in progress? I think with Kyle Pitts and Drake London, I think we need to find ways to get these guys the ball. These guys should be getting at least 7 to 8 targets a game. And I'm dead serious. And then to be honest with you, I wouldn't be against them having 10 targets a game, a piece. So that's 20 passes. And the other ones could go to Mac Hollins. Other ones go to Bijan Robinson, Scotty Miller. They can get those guys in too. But these two guys need to be getting to, because these are your premier guys. Mac Hollins is nice, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to the passing game, these two are your guys. We need some pass blocking out of the run blocking offensive line. And maybe we can use the run instead of the pass. I think this is a really good situation where we could get some play action and get these guys the ball. So just let me know what you guys think. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble, also on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. I am also on Twitter or X at VFBaller, and the podcast website is firsttheprairace.com. Also, if you want to donate to the show, the Cash App is VFBaller20. All the PayPal, the Cash App, all that stuff, link is down in the description if you want to support monetarily. I really appreciate it. I'm going to get up out of here. You guys enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. I will see you back tomorrow. We're going to have more stuff, talk about more Georgia Southern stuff. I'm still wearing the gear because I'm really excited about what they're going to do against Coastal. I think they're about to pack out and sell out that stadium if they haven't already. So we're going to talk more about them, and we're getting some pregame stuff for both of these games. All right, y'all, I'm going to get out of here. Y'all take it easy, and y'all be blessed. Peace.